Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this June the 20th, 2025, daily noontime cryptocurrency, the blockchain technology, and gold and silver bullion video that you've come to expect, love, need, and deserve from the channel that's here for you, the retail trader and investor, with truth, trust, education, and information to help you build and invest into a strategic and long-term steady investment into becoming asset millionaires via a well-diversified portfolio of cryptocurrencies, gold and silver bullion and mining stocks, 401k steady investing, uh, right? And real estate, of course, to help you become asset millionaires. And that's what the game's all about because you can have a nice and comfortable standard of living when you become an asset millionaire, right? And that's what we're all striving and trying to do. And that's what we and I have done over a long period of time with long hours and working. Right. And that's what I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just showing you what I do. And the silver bullion, the once in a generational silver bull run that we've been on and we've been talking about since this channel came on here for you, the retail trader and investor. That's why it's Vincenzo's Gold crypto investing, right? Because we invest in cryptos, we invest in gold, but most people on here don't really care about that. And you can see we thought and we talked about earlier in the week that we might have one last final pullback to give somebody a buying opportunity in mining stocks and or the physical bullion or the spot ETF as you went down about 15%. You went down about 15%. You went down close to 20% right there, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then right here, we were speculating that we could be going on a 10 to 20% brief, quick flush correction, just like similar to how quick that reversal was. And on the dump, as I thought maybe we could see something like that coming. And if you do, you have to buy the mining stocks. I'm not a financial advisor, but I will be, if this comes down, which it started to do, I will be loading up on some more silver mining stocks. If this continues, say it has a week, next week it has a continued retracement from its swing high of 37.29. Say it comes all the way back down 12.66% to $32, or even back touches the $30 level, which I don't think it would. I think the $32 level right here would be a good pullback, and I think it's going to happen. And if that does happen, the silver mining stocks, you can see the Kinross Gold is still up near its 15-year high. But a First Majestic Silver, you can see it starting to consolidate, and it's up near the top part of this green resistance box, right? And we'll put a quick price note up there. I don't know why there's not a price note. There should always be price notes, Vincenzo. And we do know that. Become members of Jabroni Killers, get the first mover advantage and becoming an asset millionaire, $3.99 a month in the video description and every pinned comment below. Help support the channel and keeps these videos coming out once a day at minimum for free to you, the retail trader. This is a stock I am heavily invested in and I've been buying for years and years. But you can see here, we're in this green support box. And as you do know, this is a heavy resistance box, just like the crypto acts as resistance, 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 finally blows straight through it. But on this correction, I could see a correction from the swing high of about dollars and what did we get up to? About 872. I could see a healthy 20% correction from that high down to about 693 on a silver correction. And I will be adding into my portfolio here on this First Majestic. If we do get down there, you can see why I have that mid-ground consolidation, because I do feel like after, as this silver bull run really matures and continues, you can see how we've rounded that bottom over a couple of years, and we've tried to break out several times up here. See that? Kind of forms a cup and a handle. But looks like a cup. I think there's, and I have strong confidence that this will start to rise and break out of that level. And when it does, it'll break out of that level very, very quickly. And before you know it, in the First Majestic Silver, you'll be sitting over here back close, if not exceeding the 2021 highs that we had, where you can see we peaked out at about $23.10. And you can see that went from a swing low during the COVID of $4.20 to the swing high. That was a 4.5 to nearly 5x return. And that was just almost getting you back to the old all-time high back here, which I believe did breach that even higher. 26.76, but I do believe we're going to be getting up into there, and I do believe you can see I have a 45.33 price target on it as we get into the $50 silver. But I think we're about to break out of this major zone. So if it gives you a brief correction back down, similar to what some of these did right here, you see how quick that dipped, but then how quick it ferociously roared back and went higher than the pre-dip. I think that's something that might happen. Same thing with First Majestic Silver. It's starting to have a little retracement, and I'm targeting down here with the same thing with silver coming maybe as far back down here as the 100-day moving average, which again would be a 20% correction, but what again would only be like what it did here, then what it did there, and then what it did there, because that's what the silver miners do. But I think Fortuna Silver is going to be in price discovery in the correct way with all-time highs. As you can see, this long consolidation that we've had, it's essentially been trading symmetrically with consistent upper resistance and consistent lower support. I think eventually this will break out of this, and I think we're going to have a new plateau up here somewhere after we break out up there north of $10 to $20, and then we're going to be in a new consolidation range up there. And this could be one of those that pull out a massive, massive return. I just wanted to bring that up to you. You can see the Bitcoin price has continued to correct sideways and slightly down as we've been in maintaining along with the ADA track in the background, right? And that's only part of the probability base, but we've been maintaining that we still believe, and or I still believe that this was going to come down after we started calling a top here. We started laying out a $57,000 mid-ground underneath major target, but first we had to hit the 74,000, calling it from up here near and over 100,000. It did come back down and hit the 74,000. Nobody called that 33% correction up here as old Vincenzo did. Double bottomed and had this return. We thought there'd be a return. We called the return, and our two targets we thought were 90,000 was the major one, but we thought it could go as high as a classic bull trap, just short of the all-time high. But it ended up in this rising channel, flew all the way up to just briefly breaking the old all-time high back here in early to mid-May. But we've been maintaining that. We thought, and I felt that this would still break down eventually and have continued to maintain that call. Even if it broke to the upside, it could make me look like I didn't know what I was talking about. It's been trading sideways. So we're either going to have a massive breakout to $120,000, or we're going to have a big, this weekend would be a great weekend to do it, trading sideways and have an initial fall over the weekend to 97,000 horizontal critical support, then maybe a slight bounce. And then I think we would break back down to this critical 90,000 horizontal support, which would be your next major area of major support on the way back down. If it did start to fall down in your three steps to get you back to 74,000, you could have a bounce back up into this range from 90,000 back to 97, followed by a classic hook nose bearish reversal pattern, which would then, if you slip this 90,000, you would fall straight down quickly to 74,000. You were taking the stairs up, but you will take the elevator down, right? If you do break down, you will fall down very, very fast. And this weekend would be an area that I would watch. And let's get out of the weekly time frame and into the daily. This weekend would be where I would watch for something to happen where you start to break down as you've been trading along the uptrending 50-day moving average in the daily time frame in red there. You slip the 50-day, you'll come straight down to that 97 in orange and yellow right there, horizontal support level. And then it would be a cascading effect as if you did that, you would start to notice the 50 start to trend down. And then if you broke down and ended up coming to the 200-day moving average, you would start to see a bearish cross possibly setting up next week or the week after. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for in the Bitcoin price. The Bitcoin dominance has rallied all the way back. And you can see if you look back at the altcoins, that is your area right there where the altcoins really rally, the XRPs, the AMPs. The Oxyons, the Algos, and the rest of it. And in this area right here, this is where it started to consolidate and actually tank back and give those gains back because you can see the Bitcoin dominance rose and it's almost back up to the three triple peak up there near 64.37. And we do know when the dominance rises, the altcoins fall. You can see we're at a critical crossroads too with the Ethereum price, as we do know if you continue, if you can hold and you've been trading along and sideways this 200-day moving average ever since about the 11th of May. And we do know if we slip these three moving averages, and again, they're all converged on each other, so there's going to be a big price breakout soon. And if it breaks to the upside, you'll come straight to the 3,058.75. If you slip these three moving averages, you're going straight down to the 1816.71, top part of this major blue support and resistance box. Resistance, major support. Right here is your dictating. If you're above these moving averages, you're coming up here. You get below these moving averages, you're coming down there. And that could happen this weekend as there's going to be a big breakout one way or the other. Another critical breakout that's coming, and it's very critical, as we're threatening on XLM to have a bearish cross, where I'm forecasting now, just like I've been telling you, we've maintained our bearish sentiment, and you can see how this moving averages, before I zoom out, is trending down. This 100-day is going to get below this 200-day moving average, which is very bearish. When you have the 50 on the bottom, the 100 in the middle, and the long term on top, it signifies, without you even having to look at it in the daily time frame, that we've been in a consecutive month bearish trend, and we've been bearish ever since we had this November 24th blow off top. So December, January, February, March, April, May, we're 7 months of straight bear action, right? And that's something old Vincenzo got short to medium term bearish back here, and that's another reason to become members of Jabroni Killers. For an industry cheap and a best way to support this channel. We told you on that grayscale filing we were going to go bearish, and we've been bearish for 7 months now, right? We're sitting just below a major critical, and we still don't want to buy that, 25 cents. And if we do know, if we confirm this as a major resistance, which we flipped it as support back here in November, if we flip it now as major resistance, something that we've attempted not to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 times now, chipping away at the buyers, chipping away at support, chipping away at the momentum to keep you above it. We flip this to resistance for the first time since back there in November of 24, you'll come straight down to 18 cents and eventually down to 14 cents, which is a golden accumulation zone, right? So that's something that we're watching out for. And you can see we're below that this weekend. And if we can't get back on top of that 25 cents, it will drive you to that 18 cents potentially this weekend. But again, that first mover advantage from old Vincenzo, we gave you the heads up back here that we would be in the future, and now we're in the future or the present, and then this is now the future, right? Told you we would be coming down there, and we've been on top of it. The same thing with the XRP. We laid out this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern that nobody else had. Still, nobody wants to believe it. Back here, just after this 340 high, we put this neckline support. It flipped it to support back here in early December to $2.09, and it's had dozens of hits on it since. We laid out this right here when all of this was future. This wasn't here yet. Then this became the future, became the present, and then became the past. But we had this head and shoulders. Now we're in these elongated along the neckline support at the 209 and the 200-day moving average, trying to hold this as major support. But again, if we slip below it, which I'm thinking we're gonna, like XLM, and flip this to resistance, we quickly come down to the $1.61, followed by some trading, and eventually this $1.29. And then there is a slight chance, there's a very high chance in my thinking, that we're coming down to this technical target, something that we've been talking about since we were at 340, talking about that target. Then there's an outside chance of a golden accumulation brief zone between 69 cents and the 90-cent level, where we could actually indeed briefly come back down there before we go off into the 2026-2027 endgame bull market, where these consolidations that I'm talking about, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the XLM, and the XRP, are just mid-ground bull market consolidations going into the end game of the bull market, where we're going to have uh, 10 to 20x returns from the mid-ground bull market consolidation, where you can see in the 2026, 2027, we have targets 5, 6, 7, some of them going as high as $12, but we have a mid-ground target by the end of next year of about $4.69. But first, I think we have to have this mid-ground correction, and I think we've been calling it beautifully. And as you've seen, besides Bitcoin making a new brief high, the XRP is still down 36.94%. It's been down as much as 53%, and our technical move is for about a 75% correction. Like the channel, subscribe, peace and love. The rock side, bro. Jai.